It starts as something harmless. A drink after work, a glass at dinner, a few more on the weekend. But what if I told you that the thing you think is helping you unwind might actually be rewiring your entire life without you realizing it? Alcohol has this strange way of convincing you that you're in control, even as it slowly takes the wheel. You feel more open, more alive, more confident. Yet behind the curtain of those good vibes, something much darker is happening inside your body. Something that doesn't stop when the party ends. When someone drinks regularly, 15, maybe 20 drinks a week, they rarely return to a real baseline. They're either tipsy, hungover, or trying to recover from one of the two. The brain starts to live in a fog where fatigue feels normal. You laugh louder, talk faster, dance easier, all because alcohol tricks your brain into believing it's happier. But deep inside, your cells are fighting to stay functional. Alcohol disrupts the tiny engines inside every cell, the mitochondria, the same engines that keep you alive. When someone drinks too much, these engines fail, and that's what makes alcohol poisoning so deadly. It's not just drinking too much. It's the body shutting down because its power supply collapses. At first, alcohol feels like a magic switch. It turns dull moments into fun and dull emotions into excitement. But that switch has a cost. Every flip burns away a little bit of energy, clarity, and emotional stability. For a while, it feels like a reward. And then one day, you realize it's a trap disguised as pleasure. The one thing that keeps throwing people off balance again and again isn't stress, relationships, or failure. It's alcohol. Most of us underestimate how deep its influence goes. It quietly decides your mood, your energy, your choices, even your relationships. But here's where it gets interesting. Many people don't just drink because they like the taste or the buzz. They drink because their circle drinks. Their weekends revolve around it. Their friends bond over it. And when they try to stop, suddenly they're outsiders in their own world. That's the hardest part, realizing that sometimes your social life is built around something that's actually holding you back. Peer pressure isn't always loud. Sometimes it's hidden behind laughter, group photos, and a "come on, just one more." Here's your first wake-up hook. The people who pull you back toward drinking aren't just testing your willpower. They're revealing their fear of change. When you try to grow, it reminds them of their own stagnation. That's why walking away isn't cruelty, it's clarity. The moment you realize your circle doesn't want to see you evolve, you found the truth about who actually stands beside you. It's not easy, of course. Letting go of familiar faces hurts. But sometimes the road to becoming your real self means walking alone for a while. The body can heal. It just needs time and peace. Just like with smoking or any other addiction, your system knows how to rebuild itself if you give it the chance. But that rebuilding phase isn't comfortable. It's like rebooting your entire operating system. People who've quit describe those early weeks as brutal, yet enlightening. You don't just fight cravings. You face the emotions you used to drown out. The fatigue, the mood swings, the mental fog, they're all part of the repair process. Inside, your organs are cleaning house. The liver restarts its filters, your brain recalibrates its reward system, and your energy slowly stops, depending on toxins. After years of drinking, your system doesn't just bounce back overnight. For some, it can take half a year, sometimes a full year, for their brain and body to truly reset. The first few weeks feel strange. Suddenly sleep returns. dreams are vivid again, mornings don't start with regret. You wake up with real energy instead of artificial momentum. And when you look back, you realize how deeply alcohol had blurred the edges of life, even when people try to cut down instead of quitting. They notice something unsettling. Even a small amount can make them feel drained for days. 2 glasses of wine might not cause a hangover, but they still leave you slightly dull, slightly slower, slightly less motivated. That's because alcohol doesn't just vanish after a night. It lingers in how you think, sleep, and focus. It doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers through subtle exhaustion that never quite leaves. Let's pause for a second. Here's the mid-story hook. If alcohol makes you feel more alive in the moment, but steals that same life from your next 3 days, what are you really trading? That's the deal millions make every week, exchanging tomorrow's potential for tonight's illusion of peace. The truth is simple but uncomfortable. Alcohol is a legal drug that earns billions while draining the vitality of its consumers. It's socially accepted because it's profitable, not because it's harmless. People drink to feel lighter, calmer, more relaxed. But what they're really doing is borrowing happiness from the future. Each drink is a small loan your body must pay back with interest in fatigue, mood drops, or brain fog. On the surface, alcohol feels like a stress reliever. It takes you from tension to ease in minutes. But beneath that relief, it's reshaping the very chemistry of your mood. It reduces anxiety temporarily, but once it leaves your system, it amplifies it again. That's why the cycle never ends. The first drink is about relaxation. The next few are about trying to avoid the crash. And yet, alcohol doesn't actually make you stupid. That's the scary part. It makes you careless. A drunk person can still explain the risks of their actions perfectly. They just stop caring. It numbs the emotional weight of consequences, so people do what they normally wouldn't. All because the inner alarm bells go silent. When withdrawal begins, everything flips. Suddenly, the comfort that alcohol brought turns into restlessness, sweating, anxiety, and sleeplessness. It's your brain begging for balance after years of chemical interference. The cravings aren't just psychological, they're neurological. Your brain literally thinks it needs alcohol to feel normal again. But as painful as those days can be, they're proof that your body hasn't given up. It's fighting to find its natural rhythm. Within a few days or weeks, the fog begins to clear. You start to see how much energy you were wasting just surviving hangovers and come-downs. And when that clarity arrives, you realize you were never weak for drinking. You were just human, trying to feel better in the fastest way possible. Yet the best high is still waiting for you. The feeling of waking up clear-headed, energetic, and proud of yourself. No chemical can compete with that kind of peace. When someone decides to finally stop drinking, they imagine peace. No more hangovers, no more guilt, no more fog. But what follows isn't immediate freedom. It's turbulence. The body rebels before it heals. Those first days feel endless. Your mind races, your sleep shatters, your emotions swing like a pendulum. It's the body's way of asking, what happened to my chemical comfort? Alcohol was the shortcut it had grown dependent on. Without it, every cell begins to relearn how to function naturally. Withdrawal doesn't only live in shaking hands or restless nights. It hides in subtle ways, in irritability, in overthinking, in a strange emptiness that creeps in when the numbing agent disappears. This phase breaks many people, not because they can't handle discomfort, but because they don't realize that this is healing in disguise. Those sleepless nights and racing thoughts are the mind waking up after years of sedation. The body wants balance. When alcohol leaves, the brain's chemistry tries to recalibrate. For years, it's been flooded with dopamine from quick rewards. Every sip felt like relief. Now, those circuits have to learn patience. The pleasure centers start operating again, but it takes time. You begin to feel emotions in their raw form. Sadness without drowning it. Joy without exaggerating it. That's when real recovery begins. When you stop escaping how you feel and start experiencing it fully. Inside your body, a massive cleanup operation begins. Your liver, the unsung hero of survival, starts detoxifying without interruption. The immune system, once dulled by inflammation, begins to sharpen again. Your sleep cycles regulate, your digestion improves, and your brain finally receives oxygen-rich blood without alcohol clogging the process. Each system starts whispering the same message. Thank you for stopping. Still, there's a strange truth most people never talk about. Quitting alcohol doesn't just fix your body, it changes your identity. You have to rebuild who you are without the drink in your hand, without that excuse to socialize, relax, or numb. That's why so many relapse. Not because they want alcohol, but because they miss who they thought they were when they drank. And here's the midpoint hook, the moment that keeps most people glued to this story. What if the version of you that only existed when drinking was never real? What if that confidence, that laughter, that ease wasn't freedom, but a mask built by chemistry? The real you isn't the one at the bar shouting above the noise. It's the one who wakes up clear-minded and calm, finally aware of how much life had been muted. Once your body adjusts, something fascinating happens. The fog that once covered your mornings starts to lift. Thoughts become sharper. You begin noticing details again, the way sunlight feels on your face, the clarity in someone's voice, the small victories you used to ignore. Energy that used to be spent on recovery now fuels creation, work, passion. Even your skin starts to glow differently because hydration and nutrition finally do their job again. The craving that once felt unbearable fades slowly, replaced by something stronger, awareness. You start recognizing alcohol for what it really was. Not a friend, not a stress reliever, but a skilled illusionist. It gave comfort, but took vitality. It gave laughter, but stole clarity. Once you see it that way, the spell breaks. You don't quit alcohol out of fear anymore. You quit because it no longer fits the life you're building. Biologically, your body enters one of its most remarkable phases. The mitochondria, those tiny powerhouses in your cells, start regenerating. They were once choked by ethanol, unable to produce efficient energy. Now they operate like freshly serviced engines. The liver's fat deposits shrink. Inflammation markers drop. Your blood pressure stabilizes. Your brain's gray matter, which alcohol once thinned, begins to grow back. Science calls it neuroplasticity. You're not just sober, you're literally rebuilding your brain. This is where long-term transformation begins. You no longer depend on synthetic happiness. Your natural dopamine rhythm returns, meaning small things feel rewarding again. Finishing a workout, a good meal, a quiet night's sleep. The things alcohol once exaggerated now feel deeper because they're real. But the emotional transformation runs even deeper. When you stop escaping your own mind, you start hearing it clearly. You begin to see patterns. How stress pushed you to drink. How loneliness whispered at night. How celebration became justification. You begin responding instead of reacting. That's not just sobriety. That's evolution. There's also a surprising side effect. Your social life changes in ways you never expected. You realize how many friendships revolved around shared intoxication, not real connection. But over time, you attract new people, those who match your new frequency. Conversations become more intentional, laughter feels lighter, and interactions no longer rely on substances to exist. It's as if your world rearranges itself around authenticity. Now imagine this. 6 months into sobriety, you wake up and can't remember the last time you craved a drink. You no longer think about what you've lost. You think about what you've gained. Energy, clarity, self-respect. You walk into a room and realize the confidence isn't loud or reckless. It's steady, grounded, unshakable. That's when you understand something profound. Alcohol didn't give you freedom, it borrowed it. Real freedom is waking up without needing anything to feel okay. It's laughing because you want to, not because you're buzzed. It's walking through life with your full senses restored, not dulled, not edited, just raw and alive. And if you ever doubt whether quitting is worth it, remember this. Alcohol doesn't just take years from your life. It takes life from your years. Each drink steals a fraction of your vitality, creativity, and awareness. But each sober day gives it back multiplied. You don't lose your identity when you quit. You uncover it. So if you've been thinking about stopping, don't wait for the perfect time. There isn't one. The best day to start is the day you realize you're worth more than the temporary comfort of a chemical. Because on the other side of that decision isn't emptiness. It's peace. It's energy. It's control. And when you finally wake up one morning, look in the mirror, and feel truly alive without anything running through your veins but your own willpower, that's when you'll understand why sobriety isn't punishment. It's liberation.